have a question. If you'll raise your hand, please give your name and affiliation. We have Emily and Mary Catherine. Coach, we'll start over on our right on the aisle.
Aaron Suttles, Tuscaloosa News. Earlier this week, Jim said that part of him Saturday wants to make you proud. Are you proud of what he's done at Colorado State and so far at Florida?
I think when you have anyone who's been on your staff before, been a part of the team who helped you build the program, and Jim was on our staff early on when we were building a program, did a fantastic job for us. You always hate to see them go to the next spot, but you're always happy to see them fulfill their professional goals and aspirations by getting an opportunity to be a head coach. And you always watch and hope that they do well. And you're very proud of them when they do well. So we're certainly proud of the job that Jim did at Colorado State, as well as what he's done at the University of Florida this year. And I think that's the way it is with, all the guys out there that have worked for you before. You feel like they're a part of your family. So it's not really any different than someone in your family that goes out and has success. You're really happy for them, and you hope that maybe some experience that they gain from being in our program is helping them be more successful now.
Okay, we'll stay over here on our right, second row.
Michael Coscaranda, AL.com. Jim is a funny guy. He's cutting up in here with us. What was he like in the coach's room? Was he as lighthearted as he is with us in the media?
Jim is a really serious, attention to detail sort of guy that has a fantastic sense of humor. And I think that's always appreciated when you have coaches that are like that. It always creates a great balance on a staff when you have some guys that are serious, some guys that maybe yell a little more, and other guys are a little quiet in the way they teach, and some guys are funny and some guys are dry. So it's the combination of all those things, I think, that makes a successful staff. You certainly don't want to have everybody the same, or everybody that wants to be like the head coach. Everybody needs to be themselves, and I think having diversity, and personalities on the staff is really healthy. And Jim was always a guy that had a great sense of humor and made other people feel really comfortable, on our staff.
Okay, if we can get a mic over here on the second row, front, all the way across.
Gary Smith's Florida Times-Union. Jim, Nick, in regards to Treon Harris, when you've got a kid who's had his challenges, so to speak, but he has made some big plays this year, in working with your defense in preparation, do you dwell on the possibility of him making good plays again and making big plays like he has on occasion, or go after the weaknesses and that he's displayed? Where's the balance in that?
Well, I think that our players have to understand that Trayvon Harris is a very talented young man who has tremendous capability of making big plays with his feet or with his arm, either one, and those are challenging quarterbacks to play against. And I think you try to teach the players the things they need to do to try to control, minimize, make him work hard to be able to do those things, and that's the approach that you use. We don't dwell on the negatives, and we really don't dwell on the positives. We dwell on here's what we think you need to do to be successful playing against a guy that has these sort of skill sets.
Okay, we'll stay in the middle aisle in the red shirt, long aisle, center.
Coach, Dan Matthews, Score Atlanta. What's going to be key for your team, both sides of the ball, going against their front seven, but also against their offensive line, but then on their side defensively, where not only with their front seven, but their secondary can also hurt you as well?
Well, they're an outstanding defensive team. So the first thing you need to do is take care of the ball. The second thing you need to do is try to minimize negative plays, which is going to come with good execution, guys playing together, communicating well, getting a hat on a hat, whether it's a run or a pass. But I do think you have to have balance in a game like this against a team like this, and I think that's going to be, really key. Staying out of third and long because of the athleticism that they have is probably a real key, because doing well on third down keeps drives alive and help you control the football. So And somewhere along the line, we need to make some big plays. So those are probably the key things for us on offense. Defensively, they have a very talented team. They have really good skill guys, good runner, quarterback's a very talented guy. So it's going to be a challenge for our entire defense to everybody's got to do their job, and we can't make mental errors. We've got to do a good job of tackling good skilled players, and our front has got to do a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage and the quarterback in the pocket. So and if we could get some turnovers, that would probably be very helpful as well.
Coach, we'll go to our right, second row.
Alex Byington, Decatur Daily. You mentioned the other day that Jim used to, early on in games, would have a trick play up his sleeve just to kind of get the opposing defense off its game. Do you prep for that? How do you kind of prepare for something that don't know what's coming?
Well, but there's always the possibility, because when you're a defensive player, every time you line up, you don't know what's coming. If you play offense, you call the play in the huddle, or they hold up, I guess not in this day and age. When I played, you got in the huddle, but now they hold up a sign or something that tells everybody what the formation in the play is, and everybody sort of creates the action. So on defense, you really never know what the play is going to be. And you react to whatever the offensive team does, and the discipline that you play defense with is really critical, because there's a little sign when we come out of the locker room in Bryant-Denny Stadium that's a picture of Coach Bryant. It's really a metal plaque of Coach Bryant. It says that, football is a game of discipline, eye control, which means you look at the right thing. If you look at the right thing, you have a chance to react to the play like you need to, whether it's a trick play or just, one of their basic runs or basic passes. So this is going to be critical on every play that we play in this game for our defensive players to play well.
Coach, we'll go over to the left. Mike?
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. Coach, your defense has been so good this year. I think you're number 2 in the country total defense. Their offense, I think, is 104th in the country. Is it worrisome to you that not many people are giving them a chance to score much on you? And is that what you were talking about earlier in the week when you said setup?
That's what I was talking about. But I'm not a statistics guy, so I didn't know any of those things that you just said. And I would have not thought that our defense was that good. I think their defense is probably that good. And I would not have thought that their offense is ranked where they are, because they have made lots of plays and played well, especially when they needed to at times, and seemed to play well in certain games. So we see a lot of capability there and a lot of ability to make plays, and a system that's implemented by players that is difficult to defend. And I'm talking about their offensive philosophy, Coach McElwain's philosophy of how they do things. But they have talented players, and their players are capable of making plays. I've said it before. They've got a talented quarterback. They've got a really good runner. They've got really good skill guys on offense, and their defense is one of the best in the country. And they play great on special teams, too. They've struggled a little bit at the field goal kicker, but other than that, they have outstanding special teams, returners, make big plays, score a lot of points when the offense is not on the field. So there's a lot of ways to score points in a game. And look, we haven't beat a team that's won 10 games all year. So we feel this is the best team we played all year.
Okay, we'll go on our right here now.
Coach Justin Felder, Fox 5 Atlanta. How has Kirby Smart evolved in your years together on staff as a coach?
Well, Kirby's been with me for a long, long time, so I've been getting a lot of these memory jogging questions, this week, which I guess there's a name for that when you get older, but I won't elaborate. But, Kirby was really enthusiastic, bright, good teacher, related well with players when he first started. And because he's bright, he really not only learned the system, but he also understood how to implement it, and really understands football very, very, very well, understands offensive football very well, because being a defensive coach, I think that's what you have to do. And, his leadership with what he's responsible for, which is the defense, for us has been outstanding. He's got good relationships with the players. They respond well to him. You know, he's sound in how he goes about the things that we do. And we've worked together for a long, long time. And he's as good an assistant coach and as loyal assistant coach as I've ever had on my staff.
All right, we'll go to the back of this right section.
You want to ask something else? I mean,
Okay. Go ahead.
So it just, you know, sounds like it's bringing up some emotion. Just can you talk a little bit about your relationship with him and what stuff that?
well, I think any time, you know, look, people that work together on a staff, it's for a long time, it's like part of your family. You know, I talked about this at the luncheon. You know, I know nobody's ever looked at it this way, but you know, we're kind of bigamist as coaches. You know, we're married, we have families, but we're also married to our job. And you have to be married to your job and spend a lot of time with the relationships of the players and the coaches and the people. So if you can just sort of look at it that way, you have a family there too. So you do develop relationships and you do care about these people, and you care about their families, you care about their well-being, you understand their goals and aspirations, and like to help give them direction so that they have a chance to reach those goals and aspirations. And so I'm always happy to see anyone on our staff who's done a great job for us get the opportunity that they've worked so hard for.
Okay, we'll go to the back.
Hey, Coach. Mo Carter from Alabama News Network in Montgomery, Alabama. Last year you had a team that won the SEC championship, and also you have a lot of returning players from that team this year for the SEC championship. So when it comes to your coaching and preparation, was it easier considering the fact that you got a lot of guys that know what it takes to win a championship?
I don't know how to answer that question. I don't think anybody's won back-to-back SEC championships for a long time. You guys are great at the stats. I'm sure you can come up with that number quickly, but it's been a while. So I like the way our team is prepared for this game. I like the maturity that they've shown all season and how they've responded to the challenges that they have. I think they respect the team they're playing and think it's the best team we played all year. And I think they have a good understanding of how they're going to have to play in the game to have a chance to be successful. But the best fighter doesn't always win the fight. You got to fight your best fight in the ring. And that's certainly what we're going to have to do in this game. And I don't know that any past experience is going to have any effect on that. It's going to be what happens now, which means when the game starts tomorrow, and how we play and how we execute.
Coach, we'll go down to our left, second row.
Coach Steve Nissom, WEAR Pensacola. Florida's secondary has been very impressive this year. What stands out to you about the way they play and what they've done back there?
Well, first of all, they're very physical. They've got good size. They're good tacklers. They got good cover guys. They have good ball skills. And they're very sound in executing what they do. So they're very athletic. They've got good players. They're all instinctive in terms of ball skills, reaction. So it's a very impressive group. They have done a really good job all season long.
Okay, we'll go over to the other side, second row.
Hey, Nick. John Talty of AL.com. Jim said that after he had accepted the Colorado State job that you had kind of helped him organize, basically dividing his time between some of the recruiting calls and things he had to do for Colorado State versus what he had to do for you guys at Alabama, and kind of referenced what you did with the Browns and Michigan State. Just kind of how did you help him organize what he had to do for Colorado State and also what he had to do for you?
Look, I learn all these things from other people, and when other people do good things for you, you think that would be a good thing to do for somebody else. And when I was at the Cleveland Browns in 1994 with Bill Belichick and we were going to go to the playoffs as a team, I happened to get the Michigan State job around this time or whatever, but said that I would not leave the team until, we finished the season and we're out of the playoffs. We had a very good defensive team and very close to the players. So Bill and Art Odell set up had a person that helped organize all the phone calls coming in so that when I was working as a Cleveland Browns coach, I wouldn't have to deal with all that stuff. And then when I went home at night, they gave me all the people who called, whether they wanted jobs or recruiting issues or whatever it was, and I'd look at it on my way home. Maybe I'd look at it in the morning on the way in, and then I'd hand back and say, please do this. They would do it, and I could go focus on what I was doing for the Cleveland Browns. So we tried to organize a very similar circumstance for Jim, and it was very helpful to us. Hopefully it was helpful to him because he did a really good job, and we played really well on offense in the national championship game and ended up winning.
Okay, we'll go around on the right, 3 rows back.
Dwayne Rankin, Montgomery Advertiser. Coach, obviously you played Florida last year. You knew Michael Wayne. Are you surprised he's turned it around there this quickly?
No, not at all. I have a lot of respect for Jim as a coach and have a lot of respect for the kind of players that Florida have on their team. And, it's a fine line between, 6-6 and 10-2. It's a fine line. You win a couple close games, players get a little momentum, more guys buy in. All teams have to overcome adversity. How do they respond to that? And they've done a fantastic job there this year, and it's not really a surprise to me at all.
Okay, other questions? Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Got one in the back. Scott?
Hey, Nick. Scott Ravelay, The Advocate in Baton Rouge. Were Ole Miss able to stop a fluky play against Arkansas? They might be here instead of your team. Does that illustrate how difficult it is to win? And maybe your program doesn't. People think it's easy, and maybe it's really. Is it really harder than what a lot of people think, considering the success you guys have had?
Well, it certainly isn't easy, and it's not easy for anybody in the organization. It's not easy for the players. These guys do a lot of hard work a lot of long hours. The players practice, and these are players. These are college student athletes. I think that's something that, people overlook and realize. They have tests. We have finals week next week. We have an 86% graduation rate, so we expect our guys to do those things the right way, and that takes a lot of time. Most of you probably were students at some point in time and probably understand that. And so it's not easy at all, and it's not easy to consistency and performance define success. It's not easy to deal with success. It's not easy to deal with failure. Logical disposition to be able to sustain all those ups and downs and look at every one of those challenges as a test, not a sign of what's going to happen. It's a test of how you respond to it, how you react to it, how you try to take advantage of it, good or bad. It's the only way you have a chance. And to get young people to really understand that, buy into it, have the maturity to sustain it throughout a season is very, very difficult. And I have a lot of respect for the way people compete, the way they play, how hard their players play, and not just did they win or lose. And you're right, we're fortunate that the ball bounced. Our team did everything they could. They responded the rest of the season, and when we lost a game early, we didn't control our own destiny. So somebody else helped us.
Okay, we've got a question over here on our left.
Nick, kind of staying with that thought, is that one of the most satisfying aspects of your job in coaching college athletes is rebuilding teams year after year, teaching them and
Still you know, it's all about how you finish. I mean, I'm very proud of what our team has accomplished to this point in the season, but the legacy of the team really is about how they finish the season. And really how you taught those lessons, a part of that is how you finish the season too. So, you know, when we look at the cut-up someday down the road, are we going to see our guys playing their best when their best is needed, which is in championship games?